I am not here alone because I have a co-host.
Whoa.
Hi!
How are you?
Good to see you, Betty Loren Maltese.
Well, it's good to see you again.
Madam Mayor.
Right, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's great to see
Right.
you. Everything. We're going to talk about you just part of the time because you're not a guest.
No.
You're my co-host. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
You're my
I'm with the
co-host.
governor.
Yeah, right. Tell me about the situation, if you will, with your daughter, Ashley.
Well, it's very strained because of the relationship. I do not have a relationship with my mother and sister anymore because at the advice of a former alderman in the city, they filed for full custody against me back in November of '07, so I have not spoken to them probably since the end of '07. I speak to Ashley on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be with me, but it's going to be a court battle. Even emancipation does not mean anything. Alabama's kind of different. The judge has ruled that my sister has full custody till Ashley's 18. So it's going to be a battle, but of course I have to make more monies. I have to show that I'm stable and that I can afford to raise Ashley like she should be raised. So I'm thinking it's going to take me at least a year.
All right. Well, you're doing some things, too.
Yeah.
I mean, not, of course, there's been a lot about your hostessing at a upscale pizza
You know, that's
restaurant.
such a career.
But you're also, I understand, doing some other things, doing some research.
Well, I do a little computer work
Computer
for
work, right.
someone researching, in fact, foreclosures.
Right.
That's part-time from the house, but since I've been at that restaurant, I would say their business has tripled.
I believe that.
And there has been offers made to join ventures of other businesses, restaurants, and to go other places. So it has been good for me in a lot of ways, and it's been, of course, good for the owners.
Well, I don't understand the situation because you were taking very good care of your mom, and
Right.
she was living in your apartment, your building rather, in Cicero.
Well, I had moved them to Vegas.
To Vegas, that's right. That's
There
right.
were threats on Ashley's life when she was 4. And there was an 8-minute tape that the phone company traced back to, of all places, a land phone at the Chicago 911 Center. State's attorney would not help. The feds would not help, despite listening to the tape of what they were going to do. So at that time, I had to make a decision. It was either Ashley or politics. So the head of my security had retired, and he and his wife moved to Vegas. And Billy had said, move your mom and Ashley out there because I can take care of them, because I decided then that I was going to have to step down. Because Ashley was more important. And since I could not get any help from any authorities, so I had moved them there, but then Bill and his wife moved back to Illinois because they missed the grandkids. So it kind of left them stranded. But I had always thought I would raise Ashley there. And then when I got to the halfway house in Vegas in August, they were going to take me there, the halfway house people, to get some clothes because I only left with my prison grays. And the Thursday before that Friday, 2 agents came and says, we decided we're taking this house too, so that left me homeless. So it's been an experience, and I just like to say for 7 years I was in a coma. And hopefully I can forget a lot of those things. But sometimes, things get etched and it can never be removed.
Yeah, well, you're a strong person, though. That's for
Well,
sure.
Lithuanians are either strong or crazy or both or whatever.
There were so many things that you have done. A gentleman who wrote a book about Cicero, and he said the more he found out about the mayor, meaning you, the more he knew he didn't know you.
Right.
That you were totally different than
Right.
everything he'd ever read or, people he talked to, they loved you. And this was after the situation, and they said, oh, yeah, if she came back, we'd vote for her.
Right.
Yeah, particularly seniors, and because you did a lot of good.
Well, I had a lot of good employees, department heads, people that cared about the town.
Yeah.
That's a big importance, but I really have not been portrayed. Most people that meet me that do not know me from the town will say, gee, that's not what, this said or whatever, but unfortunately I think that had a lot to do with my conviction, because people just assumed that I was horrible. But it's interesting you say about writing a book. There was a book that was published by a large publishing company that I never spoke to the writer, and it said that I was a stripper and that I worked topless in a topless bar. And I'm reading the book, I'm thinking, surely, and it's a hardcover book. And it was at the Las Vegas Library, and there was a couple of men who were at the halfway house that read it, and one of them came up to me and says, well, were you really a stripper? And I didn't know what he was talking about. So, I mean, irresponsible reporting can really damage a person.
Yeah, people believe it, unfortunately.
Right. If it's in the print, they believe it.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take a call with my co-host, the Honorable Betty Loren Maltese. Yusuf, you're on with Cliff and Betty.
Yes,
Hi.
Yusuf and Madam Mayor. You know, it's really something. I'm going to just ask a couple questions and get off the air. I would ask the mayor, does she think she was railroaded in this whole? It seemed like that this was a total. I mean, it seemed like you didn't have a chance to win, in this whole debacle of a trial. And also, I would like to ask, would you ever in the future think about running for an office again?
No one testified against me. No one said I knew what was going on. The government has admitted I didn't benefit. In their closing argument, they said, well, no one testified that she knew, but she should have known, and if she didn't know, she ought to have known because of her position. So that had 7 years in prison, but anything that would help me through my trial, and of course my attorney did not put on any defense for reasons that'll be expounded on at a later time. I don't believe I got a fair trial, and that's all I had ever asked for. Well, you know, even after I was indicted, not because I want to sound like I'm bragging, but even after my indictment, I won an election with 85% of the vote.
Yeah.
Against a county commissioner that Mayor Daley had Streets and Sands come in ringing doorbells and stuff.
I remember that.
The gangs, everything, and I still won 85% of the vote. But, I mean, the people in town know the difference that my administration has made, because it was not me myself. It was, I had terrific workers and had honest, hard-working people. Unfortunately, according to state law, I cannot run for office in Cicero again, which I know I'm going to talk to Cliff, because I think ACLU should represent me in a lawsuit, because if Marion Barry can run again, then why can't people in the state of Illinois?